Namaste, my beautiful earth flowers. Welcome to my beautiful space once again of light and love and of presence, consciousness. So today we're gonna talk about the difference between moving from love, from heart, and moving from fear, from mind. So love is heart. Heart is love. As heart, we can say in spiritual terms, is not like the physical heart, the physical form like the bloody heart, but heart is the space of presence itself. As from heart, all is here. All is starting from heart. So all is in the space of heart, in the space of consciousness. So consciousness is heart, presence is heart, love is heart. So everything that is the most beautiful things, high vibrations, derives from the heart. So one can say faith derives from the heart. One can say trust derives from the heart. Compassion derives from the heart. Integrity derives from the heart. Grace, peace, oneness, abundance, forgiveness. So all the high vibrations are deriving from the heart, which is consciousness, which is presence. So if one is moving from heart, one is moving from within presence itself. So from spirit, not from an identified mind of expectations or obligations or guilt or fear or doubt. So if one is moving from the mind which fears, then one is moving within limitations of a programmed set mind. But if one is moving from heart, one is moving within limitlessness, the flow of consciousness itself, which is endless opportunities, endless new beginnings, never a really ending, as life is on. It's like a recycling always. It's always recycling. It's not never an end, always new beginnings. So if one is moving from fear, from, let's say, if one has to take a job, let's say, to a different country, and one feels like, oh my God, should I take this? What will happen? Should things go well, or will things go wrong? Will my life completely change? Where I lose friends? And all these mind activities are deriving from fearful mind. So it's trying to keep you bound. It doesn't want you to keep moving forward, to keep changing within the rhythm cosmic flow. So it wants you to keep you bound within the same usual things that you have been doing for a long time of your life. So taking a job or changing a job brings a lot of fears. So these fears are always from the mind. It wants to keep you bound. It doesn't want you to change your life. So as these sensations come and as these thoughts come into your mind, instead of identifying with these thoughts and having a long dialogue about what will happen good, what would go wrong, just observe these thoughts and ignore them. So don't identify with them. Don't tell them, I don't want you to be here even. Just ignore them. After a while, the thoughts, because you're not identifying, rather ignoring, not identifying, the thoughts don't longer come to visit you because there's no identifier. There's no one creating a dialogue. So more space is now available, more presence, more openness, because there's no thoughts creating a restricted identity. So as you are more open, as you are more in the space as presence, you flow by heart. And this is just a spontaneous flow, because presence doesn't think, it just flows, it just feels. It's as an intuitive nudge within that says immediately yes, or it can even say no. Presence can say no, but it feels from within. It is not from expectations of fears and doubts into the future or past experiences that happened that may transpire again. So you reliving these past experiences can only happen through the mind. So the mind visits a past experience that happened, and it comes back and it relives into your now, into this now. But it was from past, but you relive into the now. So you accept that memory and you say, okay, let's create a memory scene. So you see all these memories come and go. Then the mind suggests something fearful that might happen. And you say yes to the mind. And then you live in that fear. And this fear can take you over for a long period of time, which can bound one into fully accepting the flow of life, moving forward, saying yes more than no from mind. So yes is always from heart. No can come from heart too, but not from a fearful mind. It comes from a heart that says not at this moment. But the mind is the fearful one. If fears comes, it's come from an egoic mind, never from the self. And remember, the brain and the ego mind are different. The brain is used to operate the form as to create and to express within the senses. But rather the mind is something else. The mind is a low vibration entity. One can say that it's a part of yourself. So it brings thoughts which create fears, because the thoughts are mostly based on fears and doubts, distrust, all illusionary. It creates delusional fantasy stories or experiences that might happen, but they are never truth, because it's just coming from the energy of the mind. But if you want to stay quiet, ignoring these thoughts, ignoring the sensations, and just remain still, detached from all, not identifying, one is presence, one is consciousness, one can now flow via heart. And heart flows spontaneously, responsively within the unfolding of the now, of consciousness. So it doesn't think about anything, it just flows. If it needs to, let's say, plan for the future, to move for another job, it does operate in the planning system via the brain. It uses the brain, but it's not operating via fearful thoughts deriving from the mind or doubtful thoughts. So that's just the difference. So instead of saying the difference between love and fear, I brought it more in depth, and the difference between moving from heart versus moving from the egoic mind. So this is the beautiful practice one can use that is called self-inquiry, which one is inquiring the self within to see which sensations, to distinguish, one can say which sensations and which thoughts are really deriving from heart or mind. So always choose the heart, because the heart will set you free. Next to that, the heart is who you are. So as you're choosing for the heart, you're choosing for the true self. So the heart is not going in the egoic sense of past and future expectations. It is always moving in accordance to what serves your truth, which is the truth of consciousness, which is the truth of the self, which is the truth of presence, which is the truth of who you are. This truth is who we are. We are consciousness. So heart is you, you are heart. So as one flows from this truth, one finds its own liberation, its own freedom, because one is not moving with limitations anymore, within limitless abundanceness of the own self, the heart. So this is what I leave you guys with today. So a beautiful journey into the heart, the path to home, the path to the self. So thank you so much for listening out, and I'll meet you guys next week with some more beautiful conscious awakening practices and discoveries of myself that is universal, because consciousness is universal, consciousness is one. So I love you all. Peace and love into your house, into your space, into your environment, into your heart. I love you all. Thank you so much.